Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Factutainment. Your host, Ziriati. We're doing another motion picture musings. And this time we're doing probably the oldest film we're covering. Unless we decide to do the horse running or like the train approaching or some shit. Uh, Nosferatu, the 1922 version. I'm joined by my co host.
I'm the Prostate King or Master 101.
Of course. And I'm joined by other friends of the channel, Braden and Beth.
I'm a libertarian. I would never be pro-state.
Dude, I didn't see Atu use any of the NOS anybody gave him.
What the fuck are you?
I mean, the movie's Nosferatu, right?
Were you upset that Ferratu was not down in those NOS energy drinks the whole time?
Oh, energy drinks. That's why he was up all night. Makes sense now.
We are incredibly tired because this movie is an hour long and it's entirely silent aside from the peaceful organ music, which just puts us to sleep because we're all 30-year-old millennials.
And so that's the thing of, I don't know if it's like this was more captivating to like the audience at the time, or it's just our attention spans have drastically decreased in the modern age of short form content. But it's like
it's our attention.
It was a slog.
Yeah, like how long? Like how long is the run?
An hour.
The one we watched, there apparently was two versions. There was a 63-minute one, and there was a 94-minute one. We watched the 94-minute one.
Oh, okay, that explains a lot.
And that mostly has to do with the 63-minute one is one where they sped it up more.
Yeah, that's Nosferatu.
But yeah, this is.
Yeah, it's our attention span. Things have changed since the fucking 1920s.
I mean, I've been tired for the last 2 hours at least. So
Sorry.
Like,
it happens.
Everything past the boat scene where Nosferatu travels across the sea, my eyes, I could barely stay awake.
Yeah, like the beginning of the moment, like the beginning of the movie was like it felt very captivating because like like it felt like stuff was going on. But then we got to the point where Nosferatu's on the boat and shit, and it's like, what the fuck is going on now?
And like you had some stuff going like on like the crew slowly being picked off, and then the plague rats. But then it didn't, like, the boat thing didn't end with Nosferatu killing the captain. There was still more on and on shots of just the boat sailing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and there was a lot of stuff where it's just we know it wasn't padding, because I'm pretty sure the term padding did exist at the time, but it was a lot of stuff of just like felt like there's stuff happening, but like it's not really contributing all that much. If that makes any sense.
It was the 1920s. A lot of people hadn't seen the ocean.
I don't even think that was an ocean at all. I thought it was just a really big lake.
Pond.
Bond.
And
Puddle.
then, but yeah, this full title is Nosferatu, a Symphony of Horror.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say though. One thing I thought. Yeah, see, I kind of saw it as the opposite. I felt like it was. I was a little more engaged with it in the last half than I was in the first half, but I think that's just because the protagonist was like really notably dumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I get.
For me, there was also like in the latter half and like some parts of the middle, there was a lot of stuff that was just kind of like not connected to the rest of the movie. Like basically all of the scenes with like and this is a hydrozoa killing a water bug, and this is
It's a metaphor.
a carnivorous plant eating a fly. It's like, okay, it's neat.
This is like a vampire.
It's neat. Do we need to spend 10 minutes on this?
It's a metaphor refantizo. This is a game review now.
So I get that it's a metaphor, but the metaphor never came into play in the movie anywhere. It was just there for the sake of being there.
Well, because, like, we know what vampires are now. They're so heavily saturated in our media, most people probably may not have known what a vampire is back in 1922, and they needed an explanation.
I mean, fair, but I guess counterpoint is Bram Stoker's Dracula was one of the most popular books ever made, and it was made back in like 1897.
Yeah, only 30 years before this movie.
It probably would have been better if they had stuck to mosquitoes, because mosquitoes actually seem to play a little bit of a role in the movie itself.
Also, there's a lot of plague rats, like a surprising amount of plague rats in this movie.
I mean, they mentioned mosquitoes once. I don't think they played a big role in the movie.
They mentioned mosquitoes like 3 times at least.
I mean, I know the one guy was like snatching bugs out of the air.
Yeah, and then the main dude was talking about getting bit by mosquitoes.
Yeah, he mentioned that was the one thing I was talking about. What were the other 2 times?
Okay, so you just mentioned one, the guy that was snatching mosquitoes out of the air.
Mm-hmm.
But they explicitly say there were mosquitoes.
Like, there's a lot of footage of this, like just rats. I forgot what I was gonna say.
All so tired. The movie put us all to sleep.
I could go to sleep right now.
I did like the what's the word? The what the fuck? Cinematography. Sorry, you go first.
I was just gonna say that almost reminds me of the Parasite Eve rat. Oh, that's pretty cool.
The Nosferatu. The cinematography was really good, using different like filters to represent different times and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because in the movie it's like pink towards the dusk, and then it's like blue at night. Even though you can clearly see it was all filmed during the day, but it was 1922. What else could they do?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, like, to sort of outline the plot, and spoilers for a 100-year-old movie, but there's a fictional town called Wisborg, where Thomas Hutter, is our technically main character, is sent to Transylvania by his employer, who's an estate agent named Herr Nock, to visit a new client called Count Orlock, who's planning on buying a house across from Hutter's own residence. While embarking on this journey, Hunter stops at an inn where the locals are frightened by the mere mention of Orlock's name. They also prevent him from, like, going out because there's a werewolf. Where I'm gonna see if there's a Nosferatu 1922.
Yeah, for some reason they mentioned werewolves in this movie, and when they talk about the werewolf, they show the werewolf, which is apparently not a wolf.
So this is the werewolf in the film. That is a striped hyena.
This is secretly a Factutainment animal episode.
I've already covered striped hyenas on the channel, but yeah. So that's a striped hyena. They are native throughout. They used to be native to Europe as well, but they're native throughout North Africa and then the Middle East and Asia into India.
I guess it would make sense. I have to imagine they used a hyena for this because it looks like a wolf, but just enough not like a wolf so that it looks weird.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an animal a lot of people watching the film probably wouldn't have seen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
but it's a populous enough animal that you could get footage of it at the time, probably, like at a zoo.
So it's like, oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, it's like a big-lipped alligator moment. Like, oh yeah, there's a werewolf out there, and here's this footage. Anyway, moving on.
But yeah, so then Hutter goes to Orlock's castle. It's the classic horror movie trope, and I think this may have been the first horror movie to start the trope, which is the people that like the taxi driver, the coach driver will take them this far but no further. And so he gets dropped off. Then he has to walk the rest of the way to Orlock's castle. And when he arrives, he's welcomed by. Well, he's picked up initially by another strange coachman who's Orlock in disguise.
Nosferatu.
Well, was he Nosferatu in disguise, or was it just Nosferatu's actor being also the stage?
Yeah, he gets picked up in a black stagecoach with horses covered in black cloaks, and it very clearly looks like Count Orlock, but all dressed in black. And then he drives off, and then Count Orlock is in the castle, which, I mean, I guess he can teleport. I know that's a thing he can do, so maybe that's just what he did. Maybe he was just doing it to fuck with him, I don't know.
I would if I was him.
I like how the horses being completely covered in cloth implies that they're also vampires.
They're evil horses.
Nosferatu, the Count Orloff's last name is Hands. He's Mr. Hands.
Stop. Anyway, they arrive. Orlock says that all of his staff has gone to bed because our Hutter arrived so late. So he puts out this food for him, but then Hutter cuts himself, and Orlock tries to suck the blood out of his thumb, but apparently Hutter is repulsed by this and tries to run away, but he doesn't go that far because he just goes to the fireplace and sits down and passes out.
Of course, because you can suck your friends and
What
you
an
can suck your
ungrateful-
thumb, but you can't suck your friend's thumb.
Ungrateful bish.
So then he wakes up with punctures in his neck.
What if his name was Freak Feratu and he sucked toes and ate ass?
Anyway, Hutter wakes up. There's bites on his neck, but he attributes that to mosquitoes.
For some reason.
That night, Orlock signs the documents to purchase the house and notices a mini portrait of Hutter's wife, Ellen, which the guy carries around with him. And he says that he can't wait to be their neighbors and meet his wife with, like, the lovely neck, because Nosferatu is creepy.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Oh yeah, also this entire time, Hutter found a book on, like, ghosts, werewolves, ghouls, like vampires, in the inn that he stayed the night where it was, like, the werewolf sighting. And he's reading about it, and he, like, quickly deduces that Orlock is a vampire. There's a whole sequence where, like, he sees Orlock approaching, but he can't bar the door, so he just, like, lies down in his bed and gives up.
Mm-hmm.
No, he covers himself up with his sheet to hide, and as I actually looked this up. He covers himself with his sheet. Orloff enters, but then is drawn away because of something happening with the main character's wife that draws Nosferatu away.
Alright. Yeah, because it says back in Wisborg, Ellen arises from her own bed and sleepwalks to the railing over bedroom's balcony. Starts walking on top of the railing, which gets the attention of her friend Harding. And then a doctor arrives. Helen shouts Hutter's name, and envisions Orlock in his castle threatening her unconscious husband. The next day, Hutter explores the castle, and he finds the coffin where Orlock is resting in the crypt, and then he like kind of freaks out and goes up to his room again. He watches then hours later as Orlock piles a bunch of coffins onto a coach, climbs the last one before departing. Then Hutter then climbs out the window using sheets. I don't. He watched Orlock leave. I'm not sure why he didn't just go out the front door. Uh, but he climbs out the bedroom window using sheets, but they're not long enough, so he ends up jumping down, like breaking his leg. And then
Injuring himself.
yeah, and then he gets like found by townspeople and taken to a doctor, but they think he's crazy, so he has to stay there longer than he kind of needs to while he recovers. The entire time, Orlock has been taken down a river and then put aboard a schooner, where the sailors basically load him up and they're taking him to there was Wisborg or Wisborg. They find, however, there's rats in the coffin, which are apparently plague rats, which Orlock can control. And Orlock or the rats start picking off the sailors one by one, because like the sailors get delirious, they get a fever, they're getting bitten, and they start dying, and they don't. Then the remaining sailors dump the bodies over the side of the ship. This goes on until like the first mate goes down with an axe to try and like encounter Orlock, but when he sees Orlock, he becomes overcome with fright to the point that he just jumps off the boat.
Well, no, he falls off the boat by accident.
I thought he deliberately jumped off the boat.
No, he was backing away to get space in between him and Nosferatu, and he just kind of ran out of space on the boat.
All right. And then at that which point, the captain ties himself to the wheel.
That way he doesn't accidentally back off the boat.
Okay. But then Nosferatu goes up and kills him. Well,
I think it's so the boat can't have the direction changed, or at least be somewhat more difficult to.
All right.
Maybe.
Which apparently doesn't work because Orlock still arrives where he wants to.
Well, yeah, because the boat's already going in that direction.
Oh, okay. Then this entire time, Hutter is working his way back home via horse. And then also his wife is having like these visions of stuff going on. And this is also where we're seeing a bunch of like the science segments of just the professor talking about how, look at this Venus flytrap, isn't it cool? It's an allegory for vampirism. Look at this hydrozoa eating this water bug. It's an allegory for vampirism. And just a bunch of stuff like that.
I have to imagine, like I said before, this is 1922. Maybe a lot of people haven't seen that. It's just like, hey, this is cool. Put this in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie's version of Van Helsing wasn't as interesting as the Brian Stoker's version, but I think he was all right.
Yeah, this version's the Professor this version's version of Van Helsing kind of doesn't do anything.
I mean, he makes allegories towards Venus flytraps and.
But yeah, so Hutter arrives home. Oh yeah, this entire time, we have because I keep forgetting you forget who the fuck he is because he's shown in one scene at the start of the film and then doesn't show up again until halfway through. The estate agent Herr Knock at some point became a thrall of Count Orlock.
Well, he was all. Okay, so I'm pretty sure he was always a thrall of Count Orlock from the beginning of the movie because he was acting all creepy since the beginning of the movie.
Okay. But yeah, he's like in an insane asylum and attacks a couple different people at various points to the point of why do they keep leaving one guy in a room alone with this man?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, eventually, air like knocks out a guy, or just straight up kills him. I'm not sure, and then escapes. Uh, but that's also happening. So you have like four things happening at like five things happening at this midpoint of the movie, and then the schooner arrives, uh, and then there's no one aboard it because Orlock like unloads his coffins in the middle of the night when he first arrives, and so no one sees it happening. But like the only thing aboard this ship that the people find are rats, and like people go and investigate it, and then uh, Hutter arrives home like right before Orlock arrives, and he knows that Orlock's coming, but he doesn't do anything to stop it. Part of it is because while like investigating the ship, the professor and like the other like town doctors and stuff discover that what they believe was a plague outbreak on the ship, and now the town is suffering from the plague. And there's a
Mhm.
whole sequence of they're going through the houses to see who died, when and where. There's like processions of just bodies lining the street, like being carried down in coffins, because there's a plague outbreak, which may be why Hutter doesn't do anything about Orlock. Uh, but then, as after the many deaths follow, uh, many of the townsfolk believe that Nock is the vampire, or maybe Nock is intentionally trying to make them believe that he's the vampire,
Yeah,
and he kind of like
they think he's the vampire, and he's basically trying to lure the townspeople away. Everybody runs after him.
yeah they're throwing rocks
Also,
at
he kills the
him.
guard of the cell he's in.
Yeah, they throw rocks at him. They have like pitchforks to chase him through a field. They mistakenly believe there's a scarecrow that's him. Yeah. And then
I just want to say I absolutely loved this scene where they like tear apart the scarecrow, and then the very next scene after that is just fucking Orlock looking out a window. But it gave me the impression that he's like looking out the window watching that scene, just like, what the fuck is going on out there?
They tore apart my scarecrow. What the fuck?
but yeah,
Just the look on his face.
while that's
Horde of
happening,
omens, give me sight beyond sight.
the Hutter's wife Ellen has read the book that Hutter found, uh, and reads in it that a vampire can be defeated if like a pure-hearted woman like willingly offers a vampire her blood. And so then she pretends to fall ill so that she can send Hutter to fetch the professor. Uh, and then after he leaves, Orlock comes in and then drinks her blood. And then when the sun rises, Orlock is killed by sunlight because he's now weakened. Um, and then Hutter arrives in time, just along with the physician, just as Ellen dies. And then it's shown later that Orlock's castle is mysteriously destroyed. And that
Uh,
is the movie.
yeah, I think when she sacrificed herself, I think it was basically to keep his attention long enough that he'd forget that the morning is coming and then get hit by the morning sun.
I think she intentionally was like having him suck her blood because that was supposedly would kill him.
Well, yeah, that was the thing in the prophecy or whatever.
Because Orlock previously was active in sunlight. Because I think this was the time where
I mean, I guess it's so weird because like
yeah,
it's daytime during the day, it's daytime during the night, but blue.
yeah. Because if I remember correctly, like vampires are commonly associated with like sunlight kills them. I believe, if I remember correctly, that wasn't always the case. It was just that they were stronger at night, and I believe that Nosferatu popularized the thing of vampires die in sunlight. But I believe that is specifically in the case of this movie. The reason he dies in sunlight is by drinking the blood of a willing woman that made him feeble, and then the sunlight destroyed him because of it.
Yeah, same things happen to me. Happened to a friend of mine.
Yeah.
But
My favorite part of looking at the Wikipedia article for this is let's see. Various names and other details from the novel, the Dracula novel, were changed, including the name Count Dracula being renamed to Count Orlock, and then finally Nosferatu, an archaic Romanian word suggesting meaning of the offensive one or the insufferable one. So there's nothing wrong with this guy. He's just an annoying asshole.
Yeah. I do
Calling
like
people slurs.
here's that contract that is written in so many different things.
yeah, so I think
Oh,
a lot
Written in
of
fucking wingdings.
Okay. So yeah, that's okay. If that's actually a contract, because how are you supposed to tell what it means? Because it's all just a bunch of symbols nobody can read. But like, if that's supposed to be like a contract, that's the guy that becomes his thrall, right?
Yes.
So this is probably how it becomes thrall in the movie.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
That
sense.
would make sense.
That's a contract for the house.
Is it?
May also be. It may also maybe both. It could be both.
well, if nobody can read it, like maybe people couldn't like read and understand it because, as I said before, a lot of like the, like what's the word? A lot of the symbols and stuff on there look like they're from the like Gaudier symbols, like like old like fashion witchcraft and stuff. So who knows?
That kind of makes sense.
Apparently, Nosferatu only officially entered the public domain at the end of 2019.
Hmm.
Despite this, the film had already been subject to widespread circulation via a sped up 63-minute unrestored black and white version. Okay.
Oh yeah, I think that's why I was.
So this was
also,
the original version of how YouTube people will upload a movie but have it be 2 times speed and like half the frame to avoid copyright.
Like pitch the volume, like pitch all the voices up or down to avoid the copyright, like people do with Batman: Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Him Batman. All right. So what did we think of the movie?
Oh, Nosferatu was also the first depiction to show a vampire dying from exposure to sunlight.
Yeah.
Previous vampire movies and novels such as Dracula showed them being weakened and uncomfortable with sunlight, but not deathed, but
Uncomfy.
like not killed by it. Sounds right.
oh yeah.
It's considered to be in. It's considered to be one of the 45 most important films to the history of cinema.
I think the most I can say is I thought the scene with the shadow was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
Like
cool.
that was
Fact.
pretty neat. But like, I mean, yeah, it sure is a historical staple, all right.
Yep. Makes you really say
Probably
no,
didn't
sir,
see it.
to.
The Shadow Hand.
I like the one just above that one.
That one?
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah. But I thought it would be neat to watch this film mostly because it's one of the original horror films. Um, we're probably, if we watch any more black and white films, they're probably going to have to be much shorter films. With this one almost putting us to sleep. The entire music score was comprised by Hans Erdmann and performed by an orchestra at the film's Berlin premiere. However, most of the score has been lost, and what remains is only partially adapted. Alright.
I was gonna say something about smashing Nosferatu, but I lost my train of thought.
I mean, I did post that picture of Nosferatu in the NSFW channel.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
one last thing I
ooh.
want to talk about is how cool some of the fucking covers for many of the releases of Nosferatu have been. Because, like, some of this art is wild. Like,
There were
Nosferatu.
several pictures of Herr Nock, which is more than what I was expecting to see.
Nosferatu.
I'm Batman.
I like the Mothman. Look at that eye.
Ooh, ooh.
Hey, whoa, that's the one. That's the one. Scroll up a little bit. Him sitting in the window, like the one on the left where he's grabbing like the.
Oh yeah.
Not that one, the other one. That was the one right after the scarecrow frame, where it's just like just imagine him looking out the window at these people rioting his cornfields, and he's just like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
These people are crazy.
These bitches destroyed my scarecrow. Now my
I'm
corn.
trying to masturbate in here. What the fuck are you people doing?
It's like they
That's what I was
just
trying
ripped
to fuck
apart
this
a
man's
scarecrow
wife.
for no fucking reason.
That's why I was laughing at that part.
It was so weird too. I have to assume like like Herr Nock was using the scarecrow as like a decoy, so they all ran and attacked the scarecrow only to realize it wasn't him. But they kept beating up that scarecrow as they were also running away.
Yeah.
I can't find the scarecrow, but I did find this one. Blah blah blah.
Ka-chow! All I can think of, I need to find that one image. Hang on. You keep talking.
Nosferatu. I wonder why they call the movie Nosferatu when the entire movie is just called Count Orlock.
It's on the
Did we
Wikipedia
kind of already
article
go
you
over
have
that?
open. Yeah.
What?
That picture, it was on the. It's at the very top. At the top, upper top. There you go. It's renamed Nosferatu, archaic Romanian word.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that picture of him with his hands out, I posted this in lobby.
Nosferatu with the jazz hands.
Oh yeah, that's right. This film was an unauthorized and unofficial adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel Dracula. And even with the many details altered, Stoker's heirs sued over the adaptation, and court ruled all original copies to be destroyed. However, a few prints survived, and then the film was basically became popularized because of that compressed bootleg.
So if you think about it, this movie started the trend that led to 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh my god.
Oh.
More like 50 Shades of Slay.
Like, look at this one.
Oh.
Look at this poster for Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. He looks like he's ready to smoke some weed.
I miss my wife, Tails. I miss her a lot. I'll be back.
There's this one.
And this one's like, my chili's too
Rats!
hot.
Whoa, plague be upon thee!
Rats, where are the rats?
He's the giant rat that makes all of the rules. That's true.
Okay, cool.
Oh, that's the destroyed castle at the end.
Yeah, it's the actual remains of still around. Apparently, this is where the film premiered.
Like the bit on the Wikipedia article where it was like described as, yeah, this is a German movie for Germans.
Well, any closing thoughts?
I can't wait to see William Dafoe and his 92-inch wiener portray Nosferatu in the 2024 remake.
Do you have any idea how many inches 94 inches is?
No, please tell me, man.
94 divided by 12 will get your feet.
I will say one of the things
Like,
that
I'm pretty
actually
sure
did
that's taller than he is.
stand out to me from this movie was the soundtrack, the organ and all that. Like the audio, the background music and stuff was actually pretty nice.
I did think it was a neat effect to, like, granted they couldn't record the actors actually talking, but they did manage to get like a clock, like the sound of a clock, and then edit that into the audio. So they timed it so when the clock hour actually struck, there was a sound of a clock.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just
I didn't
kidding.
think about that. Probably because I was so tired. Oh yeah, this is the funny skeleton clock that Nosferatu has.
Oh yeah, another thing about the music
Yeah.
I noticed,
Fucking novelty clock.
when the one guy went down to break open a coffin, the organ played along with the sound of like it was smashing the coffin, but then
Smasher coffin.
hey now what's the word but like the noise was accompanied the smashing of the coffin.
Mm-hmm. I thought this was quite a movie.
I
In
thought
fact,
this was a movie.
it's one of the movies that is ever existed in the world.
One of films of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's incredibly important and historic in filmmaking, and I understand that. However, we are not qualified to judge it on those bearings.
Definitely
Yeah.
one of the top 10 movies of 1922.
One of the movies of 1922. Yeah, what other movies came out in 1922?
I'd put this in like the top 98% of movies.
Ooh.
Like I am very
There's
confident
at
it's
least
better
25 of
than.
them, apparently. Sodom and Gomorrah.
Huh.
Jesus
sure.
Christ.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, it's a given.
Headless Horseman.
I mean, it's considered by many to be one of the first
Robin Hood.
films to like define horror as a genre.
I mean, that's kind of neat, I guess.
Like everything's got to kind of start somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like how Jules
What doesn't?
Verne and arguably Mary Shelley, like hand in hand, kind of invented sci-fi.
Mhm.
Jules Verne and Redacted.
Why is Mary Shelley redacted?
Because your mic cut out.
Oh. Wonder when Jules Verne lived. Oh, 1828 to 1905. All right.
You don't want to read. You don't want to watch the clickbait Jules Verne video.
Who was Jules Verne? Or the AI cover dinosaur?
Is it?
Is that AI? I'll say it's
I don't know. Well, you're never gonna find it.
Yep.
Hey, I wouldn't know.
Dick Sand.
Dick sand. Oh,
Captain
that's what
X.
happens when you get. That's what happens when you have sex at the beach. You get sand in your dick.
Sand in your urethra.
Okay.
My favorite SpongeBob character, Sandy Urethra.
Anyway, bye guys, guys. Bye.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone.